What's happening, Reds? It's Jamie Webster here. Just wanted to say, subscribe below. Thank you very much.
Hello, welcome to another edition of the Liverpool Connection podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Dazza, and I've got my other host, Steve, with me, and all the way from Liverpool. And on top of the famous Cavern Club in Liverpool is one of the members of the Ragamuffins. It's David John Jaggs. How are you, mate?
I'm good, yeah. Not too bad. It's nice to be in a slightly ridiculous location to do a podcast. It's always good fun. I
know. Well, it's good when anybody asks, to come on a podcast and have a little chit chat about our favourite football team, Liverpool Football Club. Enjoying an amazing season so far. I mean, I keep saying to people, if you're moaning, get a life. We're living in a time where Liverpool Football Club is like on top of the perch.
Halcyon days, truly, it doesn't get better than this. It only gets better if in a month's time. The only way it gets better than this is if in a month's time we're sitting there with 4 trophies. And even then, the football we're playing, the quality of football, the way we're dispatching teams, it's just and the way that the players themselves are playing. I mean, there's that footage of Diaz and Thiago in the warm up yesterday. It's like next level. It's like absolutely next level. So,
what's your thoughts on I mean, for me, Diaz has been a revelation. He came in at exactly the right time when Salah and Mane were AFCON, and never did I ever think he would fit so quickly to this team. It's like he's played for 4 or 5 seasons already.
Yeah, there was. Do you know what? Sometimes there's do you ever feel like things are foreshadowing what's going to happen? I remember there was our bassist Alex sent me a clip of him playing for Colombia, and he was basically taking the mick out of 2 Brazilian players in the corner in I think it was a Copa America game last summer, and it was insane the way he was just like dragging the ball back and then flicking it up, and I was like, that's the kind of player you want to see at Liverpool. But you sort of think, are they a little bit are they a little bit too extravagant? Are they a show pony? Are they going to be able to put in the graft to do because there's plenty of phenomenal players in football, but to fit into this Liverpool team and to make it to the very, very top of the pyramid where we are at the minute, you need to do so much more. You need to be able to track back. You need to be able to defend. You need to be able to press, and you need to be able to do it for 60 games plus a season, which is what we're doing. And he's ticking every single box.
Well, I mean, even watching him at the end of the match, and he was crying.
Yeah.
I bet he can't even believe he's in a Champions League final.
Yeah. Well, it's you go to a new team in a new country, and you're in 3 finals. The fans love you. We just had there's obviously some of the kind of away coaches have been singing the song for him. So we did a little recording for like a video, and it's insane. It got picked up by Colombian radio, and I'm like, so he must have like family members back in Colombia like, what's this? Mine's blown about the fact that it's you go to a new country and it's on the other side of the world, and all of a sudden it's like you go from being a potential star to being there. It's crazy.
Well, let's delve back into your past then. When was your first Anfield experience?
So my dad being a blue was a bit of a sort of stifling thing, but my mum's a red, so I was forced on it. I was forced into being a Liverpool fan by the fact that he'd be out at work and I'd have sort of uncles and other relatives kind of shoving like Liverpool annuals on me from an early age and books and everything. But my first one was Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League, and one of my mates from school, his funnily enough, his uncle actually worked for MasterCard, and he offered him two tickets for the game and in the corporate. So despite us both being 16 at the time, we both went in there. And we were just like, and we were sat on a table next to some of the lads who from I don't know whether it was PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2, but obviously one of the sponsors for the Champions League, and they were just like, we were trying to out-drink them as 16-year-olds, and they were kind of putting bottles on the table, and we were just like, well, we've got to try and like keep up with these. So no one was asking how old we are, because we're all in like our suits and everything to go to the corporate lounges. So that was I mean, it's not exactly the proper sort of first-hand field experience, but I wasn't going to say no. But yeah, it was like, I mean, obviously my mum and dad moved away from Liverpool when I was like really young, so getting down like on match days, like it was never really a thing for me, unfortunately, until I could start going on my own steam. But yeah, it was. I mean, I can say it was Stephen Wright scored, and Stephen Wright scored a clincher in the second half, and Vladimir Šmica scored the first at the Annie Road end, I think. So yeah, great.
While you're sipping on champagne.
Yeah, well, we're basically trying to work out like, oh my god, should I be there? Is it like working out whether you actually do like the taste of beer at 16? No.
And obviously you do.
No, of course you do. Yeah, you very quickly get used to it, especially when it's free. Bloody hell. Yeah.
What a start to your Anfield experience.
Well, another bit of foreshadowing. There you go. You've got see, it's like Borussia Dortmund having a big sort of. Funnily enough, on the morning of my wedding day, back in 2017, I woke up stupidly early, and obviously, nervous excitement and terror. And then I went onto a classic football shirts website, and I bought the Dortmund shirt that they wore that night, because I thought, that'd be just a nice little memento from one of those things. I was bored and I needed something to and it was just one of those things I was thinking of at like 3:30 a.m. So yeah.
That's a good wedding day story as well.
Yeah, well,
you're not thinking about me, you're thinking about a classic Liverpool shirt. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's the one. Yeah, but she wasn't there. Obviously, she was that I got kicked out. I had to go and kip at my mum and dad's for the night. So so what are you going to do?
Yeah, look at classic Liverpool shirts.
Peru's classic football shirts at 3:30 a.m. So, yeah.
I'm going to bring Mr. Stee in.
Hey, David, thanks for joining us, man. I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're playing some music tonight, so appreciate you taking a few minutes and speaking to us over here across the pond, man. How are you doing?
I'm great. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, last night was ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
So. Yeah, I mean, I think I hope there's no sort of like long-term effects from inhaling sort of cordite. So there were a lot of flares going off last night at the hotel. So
speaking about last night, obviously, we're taping the show the day after we book our trip to the final of the Champions League. So I thought it was appropriate today. I would go on YouTube and see your mishmash of the Champions League anthem. And posted it to our supporters group, and I was listening. I was like, this is nice. Yeah. So tell me about that, how you really got the inspiration to really take a famous little just 5 seconds and turn it into a minute and a half.
Yeah. I suppose the main thing we do when we do the Liverpool gigs, especially with the band, is the majority of the things we do are very spontaneous.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a case of I mean, it's certainly a criticism that we've leveled as a club at some Everton fans. It doesn't. I mean, a lot of the time, it doesn't look a lot of fun to be an Everton supporter, and quite the contrary. It just seems it's just an absolute blast. Like the song repertoire that Liverpool have, and I mean, when you think about it, if you just said maybe 15 years ago that our song repertoire was going to include at least 3 ABBA songs, a Wigfield song, you'd be not having any of that. It just doesn't kind of fit in. It doesn't fit in with like the kind of the way that you perceive sort of football fans and the kind of the music and culture that they'd be on board with. But it's just fun, and that's the kind of thing we try and do with our sets without being silly. It's like it's fun, and that was the kind of thing. I heard it and I was like, how funny would it be if it had like a sort of beat behind it, because I think it'd work. And I'd worked out how to play it because I found a really nice string patch on one of the keyboards that I had, and I just thought, you know what, let's just see how it works over a drum and bass sort of like breakbeat, and yeah, it worked quite well. And it was, I mean, it's like a little kind of thrown together a little bit, but I thought we might as well see what people think of it. And we did, because we did it with a dance beat at one of the kind of Hotel Anfield gigs we did during the season. And then I said, Will, what about just putting a drum and a little break beat to it? And yeah, it kind of worked. And it's one of those sorts of things just to kind of take people by surprise, but also with the key that it's in, you can then segue into other songs. So you can segue into LA, and it sort of acts as a nice little sort of, it throws people, and then all of a sudden you kind of hit them with like, we've conquered all. So it's nice to throw curveballs into sets, and if you can do something that's like recognizable like that, then yeah, right.
Yeah, it was fascinating how you really created a longer piece out of a short, commercialized, little piece, but definitely going to be on a loop until the 28th, man. It's just, listen to it over and over. The other one I just listened to is your Tiago song, right?
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny because at the pub we only know 2 words. We just sing Tiago Alcantara, and then we just say that over and over. But then when I listen to the full song, it's like, this is brilliant.
Well, it's. I mean, obviously the original. I mean that's another one. That's another example. It's like that song by the Gibson brothers. It's like, I mean, I found out since that one of the guys in Gibson brothers it still is the dad of one of the guys in Daft Punk. Mm-hmm. So it's, it was a huge sort of disco hit, but it's the kind of thing I've never heard another football crowd singing that song. And even I mean, obviously, like Liverpool sings Salisbury Hill. I've never heard another football crowd sing Salisbury Hill, and it's in 7/4, or is it 7/4 or 7/8? But obviously, it's in a really unusual time signature. And if you to get a crowd of 55,000 people to sing a song in a time signature, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. That's crazy. It's like, but it's so. But yeah, the Tiago song. Yes, I mean, obviously we saw the little clip that had been kind of put together, and we thought, well, why don't we? If we're going to record this and put this out, then let's just kind of let's like be reasonably true to the original, but put our own spin on it. And then obviously Jamie put a version out of him just on acoustic guitar about a week later, and he'd added other words. And so when we play it live, we pay homage to Jamie's version as well, because I love that line about about him rolling like a cube, and that's brilliant. I love that. I've got to tell you an anecdote from last night. So I can't say who, but a friend of mine from school actually did Tiago Alcantara's urine test for the drugs thing, for his drugs test after the game last night. So I mean, can I say the P word on you? I don't.
Yeah,
I can't
say whatever you want.
All right. So obviously Jamie's song says like, Tiago Alcantara, he takes the effing piss. While she was literally taking the effing piss out of Alcantara last night. So But yeah, it's, I think that's the second time she's done like she's done like a Liverpool drugs test, and the first one was after we won the Super Cup against Chelsea, and she was saying that there was an argument because famously Jordan Henderson was one of the players. And the other one was Shaqiri, but there was Kurt Zouma there for Chelsea getting tested, and Shaqiri was just apparently giving pelters at like Kurt Zouma, and say, because they were mates together in Stoke, and he was giving him grief about the fact that he'd won the Champions League and he'd now won it, and he's like, it's only a Super Cup medal, you can have that one, Kurt. So she's like, that is brutal. So yeah.
That's funny. So when can we expect you to do a take on Dua Lipa? Right? She seems to be getting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm waiting for the phone call to go and do a duet in Paris with her. So
nice.
we'll do that. I mean, we play that on match days because it just goes off, and also people don't expect like a band with like a fella as the front person to suddenly launch into like a Dua Lipa song, but. I mean, she's great. I mean, obviously quite a lot of our mates and we certainly play in kind of function bands and function outfits, as well as doing our sort of original stuff and our Liverpool stuff as well. And she's keeping coverable music alive with stuff like Levitating, and she's incredible.
You know, it's just funny how songs like that can just have a life of their own, and then just her embracing that, right, and becoming a Liverpool fan from that. So
yeah, I mean, it's I suppose it's like the Chris Rea thing before the Rome final in '84, when there's the story about them being in the tunnel and them all singing like, I don't know what it is, but I love it, and it's like that. I mean, but it's the kind of thing that you can't do any of that sort of. You can't really manufacture anything like that. It has to be like an organic thing. I mean, you'd almost think that if we'd won in Kiev, it might not have been the same sort of. It might. It might have been even bigger. You never know, but it might not have been embraced by us in the same way. And then there's the sort of there's the narrative and the journey that we go on around the song, and then a year later, you have obviously the success in Madrid. So it's just a crazy time, and yeah.
You know, last month we had South by Southwest here in Austin, and you know, Jamie came over, and also Natalie McCool was over, and we got to meet them. They got to watch some match at the pub, and so it was great hanging out. Have you played at South by Southwest, or is that on your horizon at all?
I'd love to. We've never got to that sort of level, unfortunately. But yeah, Natalie, I've known Natalie for like a number of years. Is our old keyboard player Jules, one of her sort of old workmates, was like Natalie's bass player for a time, and I started talking to Natalie about auditioning for her band. But I'm nowhere near. I kind of went for an audition, and not gonna lie, I'm nowhere near a good enough piano and kind of synth and keyboard player. I can patch stuff in a studio, but when it comes to doing it all live, no, not good enough for that. She's an absolutely incredible musician, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, did I see that correctly, that you are coming over in July to play a gig here in Texas?
It's not July. I think it's pushed back until September.
Okay,
it's September. We're doing doing Cop Connect. So, but I think we're looking at something in Vegas, and something in California. I mean, it's obviously early days in terms of everything being put together. But obviously, we came over to Vancouver, and that was. I mean, that felt incredible, because obviously the tail end of the pandemic and everything going on, and it did feel like we got a real window, because a couple of weeks earlier and everything would have been shut in Vancouver. A couple of weeks later, and everything would have been, all the borders would have gone up, because I think it was the Omicron sort of variant in the UK was absolutely rife, and they wouldn't have let us fly over. So we were really lucky with it being at the time it was, but it kind of came through, and I think a lot of us who were going sort of thought, is this going to happen? Are we going to be able to do this? Is this? And it was literally when we were sat on the plane, or probably sat in Heathrow having the first bit, having words and having a beer with like Bruce Grobbelaar and Roy Evans, and being like, this is actually going to happen. So yeah, it's absolutely crazy.
Yeah, we need to get you to Austin, because Steve's actually the president of the supporters club here, so he's the man to talk to.
Well, I'll tell you what. So I got a clip from. We got tagged in a post on Instagram last night, and I hadn't seen it, but Tom, who's our guitarist, it was like one of the supporters clubs in Miami, had a guy on singing. And it was he was singing in a really unusual time signature to one of the Liverpool songs, and he went like, it was like a Ragamuffins, like eat your heart out. I was like, I don't even. So yeah, mate, we've got to come over. We'll have to do more. We'll have to do a full US supporters club tour. That sounds like a plan.
Yeah, I think one of the guys down there in Florida, his name's Dennis Pepperak. He's actually going to play at the Cavern next month. So yeah, he knows Mark, and he'll probably reach out to you guys and just say hi while he's over.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's up, Deza?
How did the because I know you did the Si Senor with Mark Kenny, and kudos to you for putting it for charity. I mean, that's massive. But how did that come about with Mark?
So you talk about sort of serendipity and everything. The Barcelona game, because even going back a couple of months before that, because obviously we've been a band for a long time, like a really long time. We started playing gigs back in 2008, and we've done. I think we've always felt we've done okay. We've done things that we thought that was really good, but we'd never sort of. There were still like loads of things that we wanted to do, and I'd become a dad about 4 months before, so this was sort of November, and then it's like the middle of March, sort of like 2019. We're obviously in the race for the title. We're still going great guns in the Champions League, and I was playing a piano bar gig over in Didsbury in Manchester on a Sunday afternoon, and I kind of do the classic sort of musician playing a bar gig sort of thing. Okay, folks, I'm just going to take a little break. And as I go to take my break, I just hear this sort of Scouse voice behind me go, all right, Jaggs. And it's a mate of mine called Dan Ross, who's a phenomenal musician, brilliant guitarist, great singer. And I knew him from like being in a songwriting organisation with him previously. And we're like having a catch up, and he tells me that his main gig at the minute is playing at Anfield. So I'm like, I'd love to do a bit of that. Sounds phenomenal. And he's like, really? And so he there and then phones up his agent who books the gigs at Anfield. And then the following Sunday we were playing Tottenham in the one when Vertonghen scored like a 90th minute own goal to give us a 2-1 win. But that game we played on the little stage next to on Paisley Square next to the club shop. And we just did that for the next month. Well, month and a half, 2 months. Obviously playing the Barcelona game in the semi-final, not really expecting a great deal, but I was introduced to Mark before the game, and we sort of joked, and he was like, well, if we get to the final, I'll put you on at a gig. So we're like, yeah, okay, great, yeah. And then obviously what happens. So I start talking to Mark, and he shows me a single he's about to put out, and I go, well, I thought about doing something with this, but I don't know what. And I sent him over the demo for what we'd done as an arrangement of because the Si Senor chant was already kind of going around the ground, and we just put it to music and like arranged it and like done a little bit of kind of percussion and everything on it. And he kind of phones me up there and then goes, we've got to put this out now. So that was obviously the Tuesday, and the record was out by the following Wednesday. So it was like really, really quick process of getting us all together and going to the studio. And we knew from minute one that we wanted to do it for charity, because it's sort of like, I don't know, I feel I feel a little bit of guilt in terms of because it's not really. It's not something that we've initially had the creative spark for, something like that. We've just kind of taken it on a level and done something like this. And so if we can do a lot of good with it, and this is the same for a lot of the songs on the kind of Unity of Strength record that we just put out, it feels like if we can do a lot of good with it, then why not? And obviously, I mean, you know, it's certainly, I mean, it's been the biggest thing that happened to us in our career, like no doubt. Like the number of phone calls and tweets and messages we were getting after that moment in Madrid when they played it in the ground, even on the day when Colin Murray was playing it in the fan park, and it was just like this sea of people just singing it back to us. And obviously we didn't go over to Madrid, so we did like BBC One national telly on the morning of the game. So I had people who hadn't seen me for years and hadn't got in contact with for years being like, oh my God, it's like Jaggsy on like morning telly. So it's like insane. So, you know, what and obviously even the stuff afterwards with like Firmino's kind of wife having a big sing and dance about it, and like dancing around their house with it. It's just, it really is the gift that keeps on giving, I guess.
You know, it's always fascinating to me how certain songs or chants become prevalent or popular there at the stadium. You know, just case in point, the latest one with Jurgen Klopp, right? How that just started, and then now it's played everywhere, and he's endorsed it. And so I always, you know, fascinated how that works. But also, like, when do we get a Luis Diaz one, right? Fabinho doesn't even have a song, and that's so we're trying to find one for him.
Well, we are working on, but I mean, so obviously there's the Luis Diaz one. There's one, I think it's I forget which Argentinian team it is, but there's like a version of that's been going around some of the away day coaches. I think there's something that was mooted for Fabinho, but we had the idea of doing something to Mas Que Nada by Sergio Mendes, of like, so like, oh, Fabinho, Tavares, and then, oh, Fabinho, tackles like Mascherano, passes like Xabi Alonso, and he shoots like Steve McMahon. So going round and round and round like that.
Yeah,
so
that works for me.
We'll see if that takes off. His wife, Rebecca, she seems to like it on Twitter. So,
you know, it's funny, speaking about wives, it seems like all those wives are just so engrossed into the team and the city. You see pictures of, you know, Fabinho and Thiago's wife and Firmino's wife all together taking pictures, and they definitely add some glamour to the stands, that's for sure.
You know what? It feels like they kind of get the culture as well. It's like a whole sort of like it's a buy-in. It's like if you come to any club, I think there's two ways of going about it. You can either just see it as a job and just be like, you know what, I'll do my best, but at the end of the day, it's a job. But they feel like, but if you it's sort of like the kind of thing where if you invest into it, you get so much more back. I mean, to be honest, that was one of the first things that we realized when we realized Si Senor was blowing up a little bit, because John Gibbons from the Anfield Rap sent me a message, because we'd put a little picture of us playing at the fan park on one of the last games of the season. It might have been the Wolves game, and he goes like, lad, you had like Firmino's wife was like dancing around to Si Senor before she went in the ground. It was like, that's amazing. So yeah, it's like insane.
Yeah, my favourite, I think everybody's is Si Senor, but when I was back home for the Anfield Rap Party, we were outside singing Si Senor for at least 2 hours non-stop.
I mean, that's it.
You thought it was going to stop. It just built like that.
Oh, you've got there's another half an hour song. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's
I mean, it's a case that, I mean, it'd be incredibly unfair to call Bobby a cult hero, because he's obviously a phenomenal footballer, but he's got all the sort of the brilliant elements that a cult hero brings to a club, but he's also got this song which is like it's so. I mean, when he scored the 2 goals against Benfica, that's the loudest I've heard it in a while, like in the ground and like that. But it's just a party, isn't it? It's just like when he comes on, it just he kind of brings that joy onto the pitch, and that's the kind of thing we wanted to encapsulate with the record. And obviously, we were lucky with the moment. I mean, you know, it might not have. If it hadn't have been played in Madrid because we'd not won, it might not have had anywhere near the impact. But no, it did, and it has. So just got to enjoy it and kind of
I mean, everything about this football club, you know, the players, the manager, the fans, the chants. It's just the best in the world. I mean, again, it's a melting pot of everything that's great about the city as well. You know, music, football goes hand in hand, fashion as well. Before we go, and I know there's a story that you wanted to tell me. We've had Ricky Lambert on before, and I know you've got a story about him, so I want you to. And I don't care if it's nasty. Just tell it. We want the dirt, don't we, Steve?
So it's not just Ricky Lambert. So this is before we started doing the gigs at Anfield. By about 2 months, we were doing a Christmas party for what's his name? Richie. Oh God, it's gonna bug me. But so anyway, footballer was retiring, and his name escapes me. But he was a proper journeyman footballer, and his initial link to Liverpool is that he put in the cross for Burnley for the goal that Jimmy Traore back-heeled into his own net back in 2005. So he put the cross in for that goal, but he played. He played for started at Burnley, but played for Southampton, Preston, Millwall, and so there were lots and lots of different footballers at this party. The first one that I was speaking to was Neil Mellor, and I'd not met Neil Mellor before, and so obviously someone there was like found out I was a Liverpool fan and was like introducing me to it, and it was obviously one of Mellor's really good mates. And I was telling, because I was on the second row of the Kop, right behind the goals for the Olympiacos game, which obviously like the zenith of his career. And I always find it fascinating when you meet someone who has a career like that has like undoubtedly one massive shining highlight. I mean, okay, you can say the Arsenal game as well, but that one in the Champions League when he sets up Gerrard's header, and it was, you know, a phenomenal game. And so first of all, like his mate properly sets him up and goes, "Oh, did you score in that game?" And he's like, I'm like, and he's obviously expecting me to go, "Yeah, of course you scored in that game." And it's obviously because he's told the story in front of his mates X hundreds times. So he's kind of setting him up like that. But Ricky Lambert was there, obviously through the Southampton connection, and a couple of Millwall lads were there as well. So we're playing, and like basically this fella comes up, and we're looking like the most sort of Sopranos looking fella I've ever seen, and it turns like he's one of the agents for like that sorted out this guy's career. And he goes, "Oh mate, do you know any fucking Millwall songs?" And I went, "Can't see it, do that." And he's like, so he pulls out this big wad of notes, like 50s, and goes, "Yeah, but give us the fucking Millwall song." And I'm like, so I'm looking at the other lads in the band, and I'm like thinking, well, I mean, never mind the fact that the fella's just dropped like, you know, 2 ton on my keyboard. Like, I don't want to disappoint him because he looks like he could snap me in half. So I was like, is it like, we're like discussing it. I mean, did they not have Sailing? So we just like play the chords to Sailing, this party, and he's just there's a guy who's there who's the former Millwall captain, and he's crying just as this instrumental version of Sailing, and he's just like sobbing. And I was like, it's like, so yeah. And then Ricky Lambert's just there at the bar, and so we think, well, we better do a song for him. So we did like a little sort of ska version of like "Oh When the Saints Come Marching," and then obviously turn it into "Oh When the Reds Go Marching In," because you know, to span both sides. But my God, yeah, I mean, you know, not my proudest moment in music, but yeah, I felt like a better play something, because it's like a. And then turns out that about half the room are all Millwall fans. So, you know, you know, discretion, the better part of valor and all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to piss those
oh my God. Yeah.
Especially as well. So, yeah, you did right. Well, I mean, it was only one song and you got some money in your pocket as well. So it can't be that bad.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know the words. I just knew it was the Sailing. So, but it was like it was a bit sort of like, it was quite heavy. Just remember Will like properly pounding the skins. So yeah, no.
Oh mate.
Well, we got, you know, a couple of months later we got our reward and like finally getting to play Anfield. So
yeah, you're just going up and up and up.
Yeah, after this podcast, you're gonna be real famous.
Well, this is the next step on the ladder, isn't it?
That's
so
right.
Next month.
Hey, that's what they all say.
Yeah, we've been stepped on for higher places before, so we welcome it. So
yeah, we're the stepping stool, so we're all right with that.
Yeah.
But please go out and buy the Unity is Strength album. It's a fantastic album. Also, if you want more info on the Ragamuffins, go to theragamuffins.co.uk. You can check out the gigs, check out the YouTube channel, because they're not just all about Liverpool songs. I think that's what like Jamie had a problem with as well. You know, having to even put on your concert ticket no Liverpool songs whatsoever. I suppose
I was going to say we've sort of done it the complete opposite way around. Where like Jamie obviously had the sort of initial thing of playing Liverpool songs. We've done it the completely converse way of like trying to hash out a career of like playing original music and, you know, undoubtedly having like some moments, but doing a lot of sort of Wednesday night gigs in Stoke-on-Trent in front of 5 people and a dog. And, you know, the dog being the most sort of interested spectator. And but it is what it is. You know, you get around the country and, you know, even then we were lucky enough to, we got like taken to gigs in Germany and Italy and France and you know, and well, we played a festival in Austria where we were in the same hotel room as Dizzy Rascal, and not same hotel room, in the same hotel sort of area as like Dizzy Rascal. So we'd see him and his entourage walking around, and that felt like, oh, this is amazing. And then you kind of very quickly come back down to earth when you got a gig in, like, okay, where am I going to insult? Preston. Yeah, Preston's okay, but so, you know, somewhere that you know, somewhere else, like, you know, you don't get your. I mean, I think the first time I ever did a gig in Paris, my missus was like, "Oh, I'm coming along to that," and I was like, "Oh, well, you weren't coming to that one last week in Staten." So it's just, yeah, well, yeah. So we've kind of done it the complete opposite way in terms of trying to go the sort of original route first, and then by complete chance being like, "Oh, do you know what? Let's do a bit of this." And I mean, by the way, it's the most fun you can have on stage. I mean, getting to play Liverpool songs and having people go nuts. It's a pretty good sort of day's work.
Yeah, you can't beat that. You know, especially this year. You know, it's just what a magical year. It's blown my mind, especially after last season was so shite. You know, I mean, if you want to call getting third you know, with a
it's a Bob Paisley quote, isn't it? I've been through the bad times here. You know, one time we finished second. Yeah.
But I can't wait to see the next couple of weeks what it holds for everyone, for Jürgen and the boys, and for all us fans.
Yeah.
But Nate, appreciate you coming on. You know, it's been a pleasure. I'm glad, you know, we were finally able to get you on. I know we've been back and forth. But we got you, and I hope your gig tonight goes really well. Blow the roof off the cavern. Or no, you're playing.
We are playing literally on the roof. We are literally playing on the roof. So
blow the roof off the sky, then.
Yeah, well, we're hoping it's going to be like a bit like the Savile Row gig that the Beatles did back in sort of 69, 70. So yeah, that's the plan anyway. Although it might be raining by the time I look outside in a minute. So
oh no. Well, again, Liverpool Connection podcast, myself, Daz, and Steve, really appreciate you coming on. Again, everyone, thanks for tuning in and listening. Really appreciate it. And as always, up the Reds.